Hi everyone, welcome to our, well, not so new series called Anna's Nail Advice, where you guys send me pictures of your nails and I help you understand what's going on with your nails and hopefully give you an advice how to take care of them and how to make them better. First of all, I'm very sorry for my voice. I have a bit of a cold. I'm just getting over it, so I hope it's not too distracting. So today we are going to talk about, finally, we're going to talk about the darn ridges. And this is a very difficult topic because this is sadly not very easy to fix, I'll be honest. But many times people make it worse. So hopefully I'll tell you or explain to you how to not make the nails worse, and hopefully that will improve your nails. So today, one of our viewers from Italy sent me these pictures, and here's what she says. And by the way, I'm working on the cursor thing situation because I know it's difficult to see sometimes. I have to figure out what other program to use. Okay, so she says, I really would like to find a solution with my nails. They used to break lengthwise, and it's quite painful. I have never put gel polish on them. I hope you'll suggest me some help. Thank you so much in advance. And she also added that she doesn't buff her nails very often for the lines. If I buff them, I have to be very light. I use Christian Dior Apricot base, polish on top, and before I go to bed, I put Weleda cream food on my hands and nails. I sometimes put some oil on my cuticles, and with a cherrywood stick, I try to push them back. Okay, so first things first. First, we have to figure out what the ridges are, because ridges are, believe it or not ridges. Doug Schoen explains in one of his, I think it was Face to Face with Doug Schoen, or maybe it was nail structure and product chemistry, I can't remember, is that what's happening here is it's not that the body is making extra nail here. The body is making normal amount of nail here, and it's making less nail over here. So when the nail is being built in the matrix area, normally the cells are distributed really nicely and evenly, and they produce the nail nice and evenly. But sometimes when certain cells are not working properly, they are maybe a little lazy and they're not making, or they're maybe a little unhealthy, or maybe a little old and a little tired. And in those areas, they're not making the nail properly, they're just making less nail. And so when we are trying to buff and we try to remove this normal area, we actually file and we make the surface of the nail as thin as the thinnest part of the nail. What I also noticed is that working with clients, like I understand what Doug is saying, but what I've noticed another thing. Let me just pull something up. So I think what's happening with some people's nails is it's almost this. So the nail is almost folded. So what Doug is saying is that the nail here in the lower area is actually thinner than the nail in the healthy area. But in his graph, the nail was a little bit more even, like the bottom was a little bit more even. But what I'm noticing with clients with these type of nails is that they almost have almost like an accordion kind of nails. And obviously I don't have a microscope to measure if these areas are thinner than these areas, but this is what I'm noticing. So my neighbors, on top of all this, decided to do renovations today, and I'm at home, working from home, and probably you hear the drilling. So anyway, this is what I'm noticing with some people's nails. Some people's nails are kind of like this. Some people might have like a one line or two lines, like Mr. Life's nail, the Mount Ridgemore. It's almost like this. But as you can imagine, there is still the surface of this is still, let's say, the same thickness. So what happens is if you try to remove this bump almost, you are removing the whole nail in this area. And that's why, same thing with this. If you try to remove the nail, if you try to even out the nail so it's nice and smooth, you're going to pretty much remove majority of the nail. So now that we understand what's going on, we clearly understand that filing the nail, buffing or removing absolutely any layers is just not a good idea. And the only thing we can do, sadly, I mean, obviously, is try to have a good and healthy diet and make sure that our health is as good as possible, because the health of the nails definitely depends on your general health as well. But that's not to say at the same time that this is necessarily unhealthy. This can happen very, very naturally with age as well. So, sadly, just like the wrinkles in our skin, we kind of get wrinkles in our nails. So I guess that's what's happening. So the only thing that you can do is to try to cover it up with the nail polish. And the only solution to that would be a good quality ridge filler. And I'm going to be honest with you, I really didn't work enough, I guess, with ridge fillers to kind of be able to give you a good idea if they're working or not. And this is going to be probably my next project. And I would imagine, normally I like to apply all coats very, very thin. I'm going to try and see if applying a ridge filler in a thin coat first for a good bonding, and then applying a ridge filler in a second coat, more generous, to hope for the particles in the ridge filler to fill in these little areas more and to kind of slide off the tops. And I'm going to see if that application technique helps to cover up the unevenness in a nail. So I definitely report back. So there are a few ones that I have. I have the RPI one and I have the SE. The S one is really nice, and I'm waiting for the Dazzle Dry as well. So I'll let you know. So apparently they have like just the different particles in it that they tend to sink into the lower areas, filling them in. Okay, let's see what else we can do for this viewer. So she said she doesn't buff them very often, but again, even one buff is going to remove layers and make the nails split, especially at the end. And so she says before she goes to bed, she puts Weleda cream food on my hands and nails. One time is not enough, I would say, because just like, can you imagine our face? Washing our face 10, 20 times a day, but putting on a cream once and then wondering why you have dry skin is the same as wondering why you have dry hands and dry nails if you're applying the cream only once or twice, right? And I'm not trying to make fun of anyone because people very often just don't make this connection. So this skin here, which is a part of living skin, the proximal nail fold, is a little bit overgrown. It's a little bit thicker, and which can be definitely corrected, just being pushed back on a regular basis, and softened and protected. So when that skin is protected, that edge is protected, the skin feels that it doesn't have to protect itself as much and becomes softer. What I would also recommend is keeping the nails a little bit more rounder. So it's just taking the edges off a little bit and making them a little bit more even. So basically following the shape of the nail bed a little bit more. As you can see here, like Dr. was saying, in these areas, the nail tends to almost come apart. So these layers of the nail, the cells, are not being held together really, really well. So they just were not produced very, very healthy. So what I could suggest, that's the only thing that I can really tell you, is to really take care of those nails even more than you would take care of smoother nails, because it looks like in these areas maybe they were just not bonded together naturally. Yeah, you see here, you almost see that there is like corrugation happening in the nail, right? So I think the only solution to this would be, which is not going to solve the corrugation issue, but it might definitely help with the peeling issue, is to really try to keep the surface together with oils as much as possible, because the oils are going to soak to a degree into the nail plate and prevent water from entering, too much water from entering. So they are going to prevent the constant movement of water, which eventually break the nail. Another thing that could help possibly is the IBX treatments, and maybe finding a salon that would do, and I hate to say it, guys, but like I kind of don't trust anybody anymore. And if you know everything that should be done when it comes to manicure, and you do your own proper manicure and you just go to the salon just for the IBX treatment, which really should take about 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the most, and it shouldn't be too expensive. It should be like €10 or $10 or something like that for the treatment. without a manicure. That also would be helpful to prevent the nails from splitting here. I don't really think there is anything we can do for the nails to stop them from corrugating. Can we start calling them corrugated nails? Because that's what really it is. I don't think we can do anything about it. And another very important thing is that very often people reach for gels. There are a couple other viewers that send me pictures and they had the same issue and they started using builder gels to kind of hold the nail together. But the problem is, if the nail layers in these areas are kind of weak to begin with, the product is not going to hold well to the nail. And these nails, in my experience, are very prone to damage. And they're very prone to white spots, which is a type of surface damage as well. This nail here is just not bonded together with itself. And any additional stress is going to make it worse in the long term. I actually think the apricot base coat is a pretty good idea because it has the dimethyl urea, which helps the cells to bond a little bit better with itself. Normally, I would suggest using the apricot base for nails that are bendy and weak, which these ones are not. But seeing how this works, this could possibly help with these nails a little bit. But again, oil, 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 and more oil, and the IPX treatments. And like I said, just the regular manicures like I recommend, and these nails can really be transformed. A little bit of love and care, and these nails can end up looking really, really good. What I would also suggest is wearing, if you want like a nice healthy glow to the nails, using the Nail Glow by Dior as well. These two products are really, really nice. And they, have a nice glow to it. So it kind of takes away from the little uneven nail plate. Alrighty, guys, I think this is it for today's video. Thank you so much for putting up with my voice. I hope it didn't drive you too crazy. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you soon. Bye.